Top of the morning to ya! I'm your host, the Easter Bunny. Today, on a very special Valentine's Day episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a zombie apocalypse survival weapon that is not only incredibly effective, but also looks perfect for a zombie apocalypse survivor Halloween costume. Too bad I didn't show you how to make this a few days ago as opposed to the day of Halloween. Sorry. Anyways, you might be wondering how this is any different from a regular build video. It's really not. I really gotta plan these things out better.
I don't really have a name for it yet, but I was thinking William, or Philip, or Satan, or Timothy, or something like that. Either way, I don't really think I want to talk in that voice for the whole entire video, so sorry, that's the end of that. I designed it to be an upgraded version of the saw blade battle axe from Homemade Weapons Part 3, and it really came through. It's a lot lighter, it has a much longer reach, it's a lot easier to wield, and in my opinion it's also a lot easier to make. The hardest parts about it is drilling the holes in the machete and the saw blade, but aside from that, this thing is smooth sailing. And I know I said this would be perfect for a Halloween costume, but I really wouldn't suggest going out and actually like trick-or-treating with this thing. I would suggest you keep this thing behind closed doors, like for Halloween parties and stuff like that. And even then, don't just take it like this. Get some vinyl tubing and cut a slit down it after you've measured the full length of the blade, and then put the tubing onto the blade to make sure no one gets accidentally cut or poked or anything like that. But aside from that, this has been one of my most favorite builds that I've done in a long time, and I hope you guys like it as much as I do. So yeah, let's build it. So here's pretty much all the stuff you're gonna need. We've got this replacement handle for a wood axe. I'm pretty sure it's hickory. Then we've got this high carbon tempered steel machete blade. We've got a 10-inch ripping blade with 24 teeth. The number of teeth really doesn't matter. And then we've got some assorted rivets, and then we've got this box of nails. And lastly, some more of that zinc-plated steel flat bar with these holes punched out in it. Now first, this part is optional because you might want to leave it like this so that it really just looks like something that you put together from just random stuff that you grabbed from a hardware store. But I'm going to use some sandpaper to take off the sealant from that wood axe handle, and then I'm going to give it a coat of red oak 215 wood stain. I clamped it in the vise with some foam so it doesn't damage the wood, and now I'm just going to use the sandpaper belt to get all of the sealant off. I forgot to mention, when you're doing this part, wear some gloves so that the oils and crap on your hands doesn't get the wood all dirty. Now I'm going to use my trusty angle grinder to cut this peculiar shape out of the saw blade. It'll make a lot more sense for me to explain it after I've done it and when I can show it with the handle piece than if I'm just going to sit here and try to explain it now. So I'll see you in a few seconds. So here's the deal. You can see that there's this line cut down the middle of the top of the handle. So what I'm going to do is insert this part of the saw blade all the way down to the base of that line, and then this is where I'm going to drill all of my holes to put the rivets through. And then right here, I'm going to put a band of the zinc-plated flat bar around here, and then drill through there and put some rivets in there, and probably drill a couple in there and put rivets in there too. I also put a little bit of Gorilla epoxy on the saw blade before I slid it up into the thing. Make sure you get the one that has extra gorillas in it or it's not going to work. Now I've got to drill my holes in here. I've got a drill bit that is the same diameter as the nails that I'm using. I'm just going to drill as many as I can stand because drilling through saw blades is heck.
Hours later.
Whew. Magic number was 3. I feel like taking a nap right now. Quick tip, if you're going to drill a bunch of holes, it's going to be pointless if you put them in a straight line because of the wood grain. If it splits for all of them, so it's better to space them out like this. So now I put a nail through and mark it so that there's about 2 millimeters sticking out of the other end of it, and then I cut it off right there. Then you take the head of the nail and put it on top of a solid surface like the anvil on a vise, and then you use a ball peen hammer to peen the end of it. Basically that just means smack it until it looks like that. And then do the same thing for the rest of them. Now I bent a piece of the flat bar with my hand so that it can fit over the back of it right here. Now I drop this part into the vise right up to the wood, and then I clamp it down so that this part forms perfectly around the wood. So I just drilled the next holes and riveted them, and this looks awesome as it is. You can totally just use it like this, but I want to take it a step further, and I'm going to attach the machete blade to the neck of it right here, so you just get that much more of a cutting edge. I cut out 11 inches from the machete blade, and I cut off the bottom 2 teeth of the saw blade right there, so this should fit perfectly. And you might be thinking, oh no, he wasted a machete. No. I've got a freaking cool weapon here. I can make a really cool knife out of this, and it was 15 bucks. So whatever, don't worry about it. Then after I attached the blade to the wooden part with the brackets in the same way that I did the bracket up on the saw blade, then I taped up all the shiny stuff that I want to stay shiny and all of the wooden stuff that I want to stay wooden. And if you can believe it, I gave it a flat black paint job because I guess there's a first time for everything. I also put a bracket right here and on the other side so that these two blades can stay lined up with each other, and also so that they can draw on each other's stability. It might not really look the greatest, but we're going for sturdy, not purdy. And now that I've got it all put together, I actually feel like I can take the tone of the wood down a little bit. So I'm gonna go with some Ebony 2718 wood stain and just try to darken it a little bit. And now I'm gonna seal up and waterproof all of the wood with some matte finish polyurethane. I was watching that one show, My Strange Addiction, the other day, and there's people that are like addicted to eating paint and stuff, and I'm just like, you poor suckers. But now that I'm actually using this stuff, it kind of smells like eggnog or something, and I'm actually kind of tempted to take a sip of it, but I'm not gonna, because I'm not some kind of sick idiot. Then just finish it off with a friction tape or hockey tape wrap, and this bad boy is donezo. Something that I noticed right after I made it is that I could have extended this piece a little bit further like that, like just cut this piece out a little bit longer, and it could have made like some sort of handguard or something. If you want to make this thing, go ahead and do that. But aside from that, this thing is freaking cool, and I love it. So anyways, cool news, guys. Remember in the last video I talked about my friend Dan and how he was going to be in charge of doing the weapon challenge ideas and stuff like that? Well, he has an email address now that you can send the weapon suggestions to, so go ahead and email him at, I think it's called nonlethaldan@yahoo.com, I think. I'm going to have to read the text again, but I'll put the right version as some subtitles on the screen. So yeah, I think that's about it. Remember, be really safe. Do not take any chances with the cops. Don't run around with this thing in your neighborhood. Keep it indoors, and when it is indoors, make sure you do that vinyl tubing thing, so don't hurt anybody, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.